All right, I'm here at Lone Elm Whiskey with Logan, the head distiller, and Brandon, the boots on the ground. We're here to talk about their whiskey and what makes it unique, and just kind of a little bit of history on the brand itself. So, Lone Elm, why the name?
Lone Elm was actually, before this was Forney, there were settlers that came up from Arkansas who settled it as Lone Elm, and then it eventually became Forney. So that's where that name comes from.
Okay, so it's an homage to the original settlement.
Absolutely.
All right. And so this is a wheat whiskey, not a bourbon.
Correct.
So it is made with 90% wheat, is that right, Logan?
Yeah.
And 10% malted barley.
Mm-hmm.
So why wheat versus doing like your traditional bourbon or just a corn whiskey with wheat in it?
Well, we went the wheated route because originally we liked wheated bourbons, so we tinkered around with wheat, and then that's really what grows best around here, soft red winter wheat. So in order to make a product that's representative of this region, we just went with all wheat and just found out that it was really good, so we stuck with it.
All right. Well, I agree. It is
And
pretty good.
there's not many wheat whiskeys out there, so.
No, there's not. It's the first that I've heard of. And I get to talk to a lot of distillers, thankfully. But, I mean, I've had a lot of wheated bourbons, but this is the first true just wheat whiskey that I've had. And I just randomly came across them on the shelf at one point, and I was pleasantly surprised by what I got out of
Great
it.
whiskey, yeah.
And so we're going to taste it here in a little bit. But so kind of we've kind of talked about what it is and all that. So the whiskey itself, besides drinking it neat, or on the rocks, which is how, I prefer it. What kind of, being that it's wheat and to me, it's a little bit on the mellower side it's not real spicy and gonna, hit the back of your tongue. What kind of cocktail would it make? Does it go well with? What does it hold up against?
I mean, it makes fantastic Manhattans, old fashions. I've used it in like lots of blackberry smashes and different fruit smashes. But I mean, it's what I like about this whiskey is that it's a wheat soft whiskey that you can use in a variety of cocktails that just kind of citrus really accents this whiskey. Being wheat, like when you're having like a Hefeweizen beer, with that orange in there, it just really brings it to another level. And that's kind of how we feel about this whiskey. Just there's so many different things that you can play around with this, and you discover more and more as
the more you try it.
Absolutely.
Things like that. Well, that's cool. So, and Logan, you were talking to me about this is all the product out there is what, roughly at least 4 years of age. Is that correct?
Yeah, everything out there right now is 4 or 5 years old right now.
Which for me is kind of astonishing in Texas. I mean, we have because of the climate, it gets so hot, and the way things interact with barrels. A lot of things aren't aged that long, simply because, well, either the angels take it all, or it's just become something that you don't necessarily want to bottle. And so the fact that wheat holds up to the barreling and aging for that length of time in this Texas sun is also pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our fair share of barrels lost to the angels.
Yeah.
But
We have happy angels.
Yeah, we haven't really wanted to push out anything younger than 4 unless we absolutely have to, because people like that 4-year benchmark for whiskey. So,
we originally started off with a 2-year and then moved to a 3-year, and I think the 2 years is what we won our 95-point rating with. So I mean that to me was just like, wow, I can't wait to see what we can do the more we age our whiskey.
Well, and that was my next question is, so are y'all looking at doing longer aged stuff or even different proof stuff? Because this is at 90 proof right now, right?
Our small batches.
Right, the small batch. Yeah. So y'all looking at doing something that's like maybe like a bottled and bond type version of it?
Well, I mean, we do a single barrel that ranges anywhere from 104 proof to 125 proof. Oh. So I mean, I think on the table right now next to the small batch we have 116 proof single barrel.
Well, that sounds lovely. I'm gonna try that later.
When we make our single barrels or our small batch, whatever barrel that we pull out that doesn't hit the taste buds the correct way to go into being a single barrel, then we batch, and that's what we make our small batch with. So single barrel comes from one barrel, and we proof that sucker and bottle it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm interested in trying the single barrel. I hadn't done that. So kind of backtracking a little bit. So how did Lone Elm get started? We talked about the name, where the name comes from, but how did the distiller get started? And how did you come to be here, Logan? I mean, at 26, you've got to be probably the youngest head distiller in the Texas industry. Maybe, I don't know, is that maybe even out of Kentucky as well? But 26 is pretty young to be a head distiller.
Yeah. Well, I got started real early in college, and not strictly legally, but
No,
I did have a real internship my senior year. So I studied chemistry, so I got that background too. And then with those two factors, I was able to get this job straight out of college.
Well, that's super impressive. I think you're doing a great job. But so, how did the distillery itself come about?
Well, our owners were sitting around, drinking pappy, on somebody's back porch, and our president and master distiller, Bill Walford, he's one of those guys that is like, I can do this. I'm going to do this, and he did it. He's like, I can make something like this. So he put that brain of his to work and just built the distillery, and he's put out a phenomenal product, and a lot of people are really catching on to it and really liking it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. You taste it and you know it's good without even knowing anything else about it. I think understanding that it is a wheat whiskey that's a little bit different than what's there on the market also adds a little bit of coolness to it and makes it. You're kind of like this. Oh yeah, I'm drinking something that most people aren't drinking right now, and I think that's super unique and fun.
That's the whole niche that just kind of plays with me, is like, we're kind of in a category all on our own. We're a wheat whiskey,
right?
Playing with all these other big boys, and a lot of these guys are corn whiskeys, and I salute them because they make fantastic products.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is what's special about us, is that this is an interesting, hearty wheat whiskey. I mean, that can play several different ways. Like our single barrel can be on the stronger side, a little bit more chew to it, and the small batch is just like an everyday, just weeded spirit. That's just, that whiskey's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of it, and I'm looking forward to tasting a little bit of it here in just a minute. So, I mean, guys, where can we get it? I know I picked it up from the Austin area at a Total Wine and More. So I know it's available in the Austin area. Where else in Texas can people find it?
It's statewide, and Total Wine, statewide, and Goody Goody. Specs, there are some specs that it's at. There are some, it's in Siegel's and DFW Metroplex, but it's kind of spread out around West Texas as well. So like a lot of independents, we have a ton of package stores. So, I'm on the ground all the time. And so, I hit all these independents, I go to chain accounts, but it's really spread out there. But, unfortunately, we're not in all the specs yet, but that's soon to come.
So, cool. Yeah. Well, guys, you know where you can pick it up. It's available. It's out there. If you don't find it immediately, ask your liquor store for it. Other than that, and then go find a liquor store that has it and put it on your shelf. Try it. Spread the word. These guys are going to be at the 2019 Whiskey Festival, and so if you haven't had a chance to try it before then, we encourage you to come out, talk to them, learn more about the story, and try it. Until next time.